Kingdom of Cloud.
That's right. Cloud Kingdom is the next site for our battlefield between these two players. Over in the top right corner, we have from Team FXO, it is Strelok. And in the bottom left, we have from Team Slayers. You've seen him 3 times already tonight. Can he go for 4-0 perfection? I'm feeling it, man. It's Slayers Dark. We call 4-0 perfection because that's also the predictions we usually go by, right? Like, if you go 4-0, you're perfect for the night.
Yeah.
Although we have 5. You picked, who'd you pick for this match?
I picked Dark.
I picked Dark as well.
I'm not doing well. I can't go perfect because I already lost last time.
Ah, that's okay, man.
Thought Mana was going to do his 3 base pushes, but he did not. He did not. It's unfortunate. But here we have Cloud Kingdom. I mean, you've said it before. 2 racks is definitely something that is possible on this map, although we're not going to see it by Strelok. But the main thing that you have to worry about is 3 bunkers can actually fit right here, Frodan.
Yes,
of course you
very
know that.
snuggle.
Another way you
why
can
would
actually
I know that? Do you think I 2-racked all the time?
Well, you said this is 2-rack central.
That's
so
true, yeah.
Also, what you can do is actually put 2 bunkers over here, slit your Marines inside, and then put an SCV on the outside, and just slow creep this hatchery. But it's definitely one of the bigger problems, I think, on this map, and that's why we see a drone scout.
Yeah, and drone scout is just safe too. And to be frank, Dark probably hasn't really played Strelok in a lot of scenarios. It's like, yeah, sure, Strelok's played in a lot of online cups, but how many times has he run into Dark? And the answer is very little, if not none. So being unfamiliar with a player's style, especially on a map like I was about to say 2 racks. Being on a map like Cloud Kingdom, you have to be careful of the 2 racks, and that's why it's very smart to do this.
What I would love in terms of mind games from Strelok is to actually put the command center on the top. That would have been really, really cool. I think he's going to go ahead and put it on the bottom. You know, just playing to the map, because you know this map is 2-rack central. So his opponent knows it's 2-rack central. If you actually see no command center on the bottom, you're like, oh my god, I need to be really careful, Frodan. I need to be careful that there is some sort of Marine SCV all incoming, and then I have to do something so drastic. I think that would be so cool to actually have. And then all of a sudden, when your command center is done, you just lift it off, put it on the low ground, and then you have an SCV pull with Marines. And it looks like, oh, you're SCV pulling. I need to like maybe cancel some huge production structure, and all of a sudden you just back up and you move over to the command center. Just my thoughts.
Yeah, it's the mind games. It's the mind games.
Man.
I think the best example of it was Top versus Scarlet in our NASL season 4 qualifiers. It was Top 2 racks, and then Scarlet defended, and then Top didn't show the command center, so Scarlet made more Zerglings and Spine Crawlers, but then when she pushed back, Top eventually went triple command center, and Scarlet just Baneling busted. It was like it was mind games of all.
Oh,
she faked the Baneling bust. You're right. Just kidding.
And then took expansions, and I was like, oh my god, how many mind games are in here?
It was one of those just crazy. It was just one of those crazy things where so many psychological factors started weighing in. You're absolutely right, Andre. I cut the story short. And that's kind of the state of early game TVZ now, and that's kind of why even Hellion Banshee doesn't even tell you a lot, because a lot of people used to kind of assume Hellion Banshee into more Hellions and into mech, right? But now players, remember when we watched Lucifron versus Stefano, Hellion Banshee is a pivot point where you can still go Marine Tank, you can go Bio Hellion, you can go into mech. There's just different flexibility points, and that's why I still think Hellion Banshee is just such a staple part of this matchup now.
I 100% agree, obviously. I think Hellion Banshee is not only so mobile, but I don't know, it's kind of like, if you watch Naruto, there's this sword called the Needle. I feel like it's the Needle, man. And I say that because it's able to, like,
is this like, are you spoiling the manga for me, man? Because I haven't really been paying attention for a while.
No, it's cool. But it's able to weave in and out. It can do basically whatever it wants, and it's just so powerful. And that's how I really feel like Hellion Banshee is. It has so many capabilities. It has the ability to run in and do run-bys, or it has the ability to be actually really powerful, kill spine crawlers and spore crawlers and drones, and you have to be careful at all times. And that's why I feel like it is the staple. Kind of weird not canceling the engineering bay. Unfortunate for Strelok.
That's
third
okay.
base goes down.
Yeah, you're right. It's kind of annoying because the mineral loss, but like you said, Andre, Hellion Banshee is good for controlling the map. In general, we've been seeing the separation from a lot of Terrans now. Is they're just, it's kind of like back to the early days of StarCraft 2, where Harass is almost king of this matchup. Like, how well are you able to utilize your Hellion Harass in combination with Banshees, whether or not you're able to pick off Queens, Creep Tumors, Drones, Zerglings, etc. And that's where certain players just excel at. That's what Marine King loves doing. That's what Lucifron loves doing. That's what Major loves doing. Major loves Hellion run-bys. Those kinds of stuff is what really separates Terrans from weaker Terrans in this matchup. And I feel whether or not Strelok's success depends on how good he's able to utilize his early utilize his early Hellions. But he's getting surrounded by Zerglings up the ramp, and Dark is the one harassing instead of Strelok. That's interesting.
Well done, though. I think Strelok fended that off pretty nicely. And remember, this third base is still pretty open, so obviously the Hellions can be just so effective if this one expansion actually gets droned up, because he can just go from the side over here and tuck in this corner, and Zerglings are really useless in that stage. Drones get just singed completely, so I feel like Strelok still has a ton of options, and it really disallows Dark from actually saturating his third base, which he wants to do ASAP. He just has no ground army to do it. Here we have it, taking up third base. You know what? This is so undefended. I wouldn't be surprised if this hatchery actually goes down.
Well, there are 2 Queens to kind of deal with the Banshee, so well, actually, he doesn't even have the Spore in position. The layer's still morphing, so you might be right, Andre. The Banshee should be able to at least pick this off if the Spore Crawler can get in position.
Oh, he's taking out one of the Queens, but a good transfuse actually keeps that alive. Very nicely done. Oh, wow, that was really close. And this is what I'm talking about, being able to just weave in and out of the Zerg force. And look, these Banshees are actually doing amazing damage. Now the Hellions might be able to clean up a couple of drones here. That would be so, so good.
Yes. If he's able to focus down some of these drones, he's actually getting...
4 more. Where did those come from? 4 more Hellions come in here.
He was making them the entire time, because Strelok's also preparing for a mech transition. Now he's into the main, and the Queens have to go up the ramp, and there is a little bit of creep separation, so it's going to be even more tough. The Banshee is still picking up any Queens in the middle. This is what we're talking about, Andre. This reminds me of a thing in Naruto called the Needle. I'm just kidding, bro. It's just the Hellions are harassing here and there. Andre, you are on the point. These Hellions are so slippery and slimy. The Zerglings can't stay on them, and they've done a pretty good job keeping the drone count down. 17 workers have been killed. Coolio,
man. Going back to the late 1990s.
He even kept the Banshees alive. Wow.
Did he really?
Yeah, he sent them back to the main.
Wow.
Yeah.
I'm impressed. Okay, let's go ahead and take a look at what happened. 17 drones? Are you kidding me? That's it? I mean, that's still a lot.
I mean, he forced so many Zerglings out, too. And
the drone count is a ton. Don't get me wrong.
The drone count is very unhealthy. It's 37 at 11.5 minutes of the game.
But after I watched that one TVP with Lucifron killing, like, I don't know how many.
I don't remember. It was like 100 drones or something silly like that.
Yeah. No, not that one.
Oh,
the
TVP, the 30. The Hellions killing 30.
30 in 2 minutes. Yeah. I'm not impressed. No, I'm just kidding.
Oh, come on.
Just kidding. That was still good.
Unimpressed Gretorp. That's like the scariest Gretorp. Whenever I look over, I'm like, Andre, look just what happened. Andre just goes back to playing StarCraft.
That should have happened, Frodan.
This is what's expected. Look, high expectations, Gretorp, man.
I'm neural parasited 7 units at the same time. Yeah, great job, man. That's great. That's great. Bitter shows me a replay of him like transfusing in Ultralist.
Great job, like, Ben. You hit the T key.
Good job, Ben. You did exactly what you're supposed to do.
Yeah.
All right. Do I say good job when you? No, I'm just kidding. I'm just being hard on Ben.
That's all right, man. Strelok's been really hard on Dark all game long, just constantly poking back and forth with the Banshees. Now even using the Viking to clean up some of the Overlords. Just a nice one thing that Terrans love doing. Just one Viking or two just to peruse around. Limit Zerg's vision. Make them spread creep. Make them rely on mechanics and fundamental routines if they're able to get vision. Oh, yeah. And even if you do, control it by scanning, or in this case, doing what Strelok does and use a Raven.
I like the Raven incorporation. You know, a lot of meching Terrans actually don't incorporate those. I think it's such an underused thing.
Still, in 2 years after having it incorporated, people don't really even use Ravens that much. Except for maybe late game TVT.
Dang it, I missed the bailing hit.
Oh, there was a Baneling hit?
Yeah, there was a Baneling hit at the third base.
Well, it didn't kill that many workers because I looked at the research loss tab, and those workers from the early game
killed
were
no
killed.
workers.
Yeah, it didn't really kill anything.
All right, there are 4. Okay, Dark. Well, nice fungal catching that one Viking. That's going to die. I do have to say, I mean, the fact of the matter is Strelok knows his opponent is on 3 bases, or at least he has a good idea his opponent is on 3 bases. I really feel like there's not a huge necessity to really put on pressure. Yes, go ahead and clear up as many creep tumors as possible, but don't worry about actually trying to kill drones, zerglings, whatever it might be. Just macro up from here, because if you know your opponent wants to take a 4th base and it's so delayed, well, go ahead and hit a timing where you know they're actually approaching that 4th base, they're just starting to materialize off it, and you know all that investment into that 3rd base, or excuse me, the 4th base, is going to be wasted. And that's going to be where, you know, you have like maybe 500, 600, 700 minerals more in your army theoretically, just because you didn't waste money on a 4th base. But no, he's going to go ahead and get his own 4th base. So Strelok not going to play that route. But I like his mass up. It's a lot more stable this game than last.
And Cloud is honestly a better map for something like that because it's very hard for you to get a surround if you position mech correctly. And the ledges do end up helping tanks. Oh, but catching the Banshees and the Ravens. Nice little drop of the auto turrets, but...
And now the Hellions. Let me tell you, Hellions are probably one of the most important units when you're going mech. Not only are they good at actually receiving damage, clearing up Zerglings and Infested Terrans are actually what the Thor and Siege are worst at. Infested Terrans and Zerglings are both light units. That means they do reduce damage to them. 35 instead of 60. 60 damage done to armored units. And when you have...
Really? I thought it was 50. Is it 60?
Crap. You might be right.
I think 60. 60 is like Brood War, man, where everything would hit for 60. Or is it like 65?
It was... Like oh my god.
It was so powerful. I remember the first time I went up against Brood War tanks. And like I went with like Dragoons, and I was like, oh my lord.
It is actually 70. It's 70 with +5 for each one.
Oh
so
my goodness.
They reach 85 damage, I think.
Wow, Andre, your Brood War knowledge is so crisp and fresh.
Thank you, man. I used to play a lot of Broodlord.
But then you quit for SATs.
I just said Broodlord.
Oh, you used to play a lot of Broodlord?
Yeah, I used to play.
Sounds like you won everything.
Oh, Frodan, use jokes. They're so funny. Pulling SEVs, I love this. Just gonna make sure he has additional Hellions. Oh. And here come the Infested Terrans. Oh, nice snipes! Kills one single Infestor.
Yeah, the Infestors, I mean, tanks is just a great response. Forces the Infestors to, you know, basically respect their zones. You know, Infestors, they're deviants, man. They love to waddle just a little bit close, just to drop Infested Terrans or Fungal and Neuro, and the tanks have to be in position to zone it. Although that's kind of where the players like Stefano and Nerchio were starting to drop Infested Terrans to tank the damage initially. But we're talking about, you know, Infestors being deviant. Look at how many are coming in for a third, and it's so undefended. Strelok does not have units in position. You only had a bunker with 2 Marines.
Oh, lift up your command centers. See, these command centers are actually going to be the most critical thing when you're actually doing base races with Zerg, because the ability to actually replace your 3rd or even 4th base is going to be so critical. Now, bases are going to be traded, and they actually lose way too many command centers. Yes, it's good to actually have them there for buying a little bit of time, but they're more importantly used for their mules so that you can actually get an income, even though, obviously, you have no SCVs.
Oh, huge Baneling explosions.
Oh, poor Infestors!
They're running straight past nonchalantly, but the Thor has caught sight of them. 2-2 has finished for Terran, so they do have a lot of armor to deal with things like Zerglings and Infested Terrans.
Oh, nice trap, though. Look at that Infested Terrans right between the Thors and the Siege tanks, and goodbye, Thors. You are going to go down.
Well, they do have a lot of armor. Well. The Infested Terrans are not actually...
That's
true.
The
splash damage from the tank is doing considerable amount of damage. The Roach is still working on the exterior expansions of Strelok, and now Shaq only has tanks, which is a very dangerous situation because you need something to buffer for the tanks, and now the Zerglings and Banelings have found where the tanks are. I guess Strelok's just going to back off. He's going to learn from those other tanks saying, you know what? Just tanks alone is not enough to bust his position.
That's true. And 3 command centers should be here on the field, but Strelok actually lost all of them. Think if he had 3 more orbital command centers. Let's look at the income tab. 47 harvesters with 3 more. That's 13.5 mining efficient SCVs per minute that we're talking here. So that's really, really different. He would be up at a theoretical 63 harvesters rather than 50, or even more than that because he already has 3 here. So 13 and a half times it by 2, 27. So add 27, he would be at a theoretical 79 mining efficient workers.
That's
Instead,
a lot,
he's only
Andre.
at 60, 70 around there.
And especially with all these mules fresh onto the third base. These mules represent so much economy.
Interesting Muta switch, by the way.
Yeah, because he took care of the Thor count, which is pretty clever, actually. And he's only doing it because he's buying time for his Spire tech to come out, because Greater Spire is on the way.
But the only thing I think that I'm actually worried about is the fact that all you need is just a couple Thors, because with 2-2 and no upgrades on air, you actually two-shot all these Mutas. So all you need is 2 Thors, like so,
Two-shot, wow.
and the Mutas die.
You're right, 18 times 4 is a lot of damage.
70, 72, I believe, right? 18 times 4.
Strelok, I'm laughing out of embarrassment more than anything. Strelok now has the 4th base pretty secured. It's just that, again, the 3rd is very vulnerable, and look how the creep has spread. So it just, if anything, again, if Strelok comes down this path, there's nothing preventing a counterattack other than 2 turrets.
2 turrets,
and that's going to force Strelok to rush a little bit more. You know, mech is something they kind of take your time, take position.
Yeah.
And that's just going to put slight amount of pressure in the back of his mind.
Uh-oh, Broodlords. What are you going to do, Strelok? You need to back up from here. There's not nearly enough Thors to actually take these out. Yes, your upgrades are great, but look at the friendly fire being done. Mutas just evaporating.
That's
Frodan.
right. A lot of damage from the Thors, but the infested Terrans saying, you're going nowhere.
You are going nowhere. Goodbye, everything. Strelok's hopes in this game are completely gone. Not able to actually defend this planetary fortress anymore. Actually suffering significant damage at the 3rd base. GG. And Strelok falls. We have a 4-0 victory for Dark today.
Perfecto.
2-0 against Mana, 2-0 against Strelok. He is a European smasher.
And now is 4-2 in the North American Star League. In prime position and set himself up for the wild cards and playoffs. And Dark also has a bye week. So basically, some of the hardest days in this division are already over for Dark. And we'll see how things actually pan out. Strelok now falls to 1-3. Making it very difficult for him to even stay in the league. So, guys, definitely stay tuned for next week's match to see how these 2 players end up going.
Definitely. But that being said, I mean, I really have to give credit to Strelok. I feel like he did everything in that game, for the most part, that he could just to stay in it. I felt like he had a lot of really, really good battles, trading bases, obviously, and he had the material to actually win that game. If he just lifted those orbital command centers, if he stabilized a little bit better, he would have been actually ahead in that game.
I think conceptually in his strategy, he was right, but small things like the execution, the tactics, the base trades. I mean, Dark is just, he's mischievous, man. Anything you do, he's just going to use infestors to somehow mess you up, and that's just kind of the nature of the game.
Yeah, and really quickly before we actually end this, Strelok is a player that prepares for his opponents, but when you have a player like Dark who, let's be honest, nobody in the scene uses infestors.
Just
like
have to blindly ghost rush against Dark.
Yeah, how do you actually, well, not even that, how do you prepare against someone that is so unique in that respect? Nobody has that good infestor control. Nobody actually spams that T button as much as him
I know one person in this office that may spam T as well as Slayer's dead.
Well, and then Mr. Bitter, it's just so hard to reach him sometimes. He's so busy making esports happen. I mean, what other practice partner do you have, Frodan?
I don't know, but all I know is Dark is 4-2 in his division, and all I know is you can get hassle-free postage from your PC if you go to stamps.com by using this link, nasl.tv/p/stamps. I think right now it's a $5 promo code. Like, you basically get $5 worth of postage. So if you're sending cards for Christmas, Thanksgiving, even Halloween, I don't even know why you would send a card for Halloween, but if you do,
you know, if you guys have a small business as well, I know a lot of people coming out of college, or even people right now that have a business. You know, the market's tough. Sometimes creating your own business is the best possible way.
That's right.
Definitely look up stamps.com to actually help you out with all your postage needs.
When we come back, our next series of the day, Gonzi versus Mana, will be happening. And Gonzi's not a Zerg. It's going to be a Terran versus Protoss. More action from Week 6 Division 3 when we return, so don't go anywhere. We'll be back in just a couple.